In this USA, the government cannot function because of debt. That's why nothing gets done in Congress. There's just so much debt that they either have to declare bankruptcy and start over again, or they have to let the liars, the traitors, the failures, the fools, the terrorists, everybody and anybody, the thieves that want to, can run government instead, because they have no choice but to, it's either bankruptcy, back to reality, or it's let the thieves have their way. I remind you again, $1 trillion is equal to $10,000 divided equally among 100 million people. Or every time you see $1 trillion, just add $10,000 to that, and that is, as one person, one worker out of 100 million, that is the charge to you. Think about that for a minute, and understand that is why government fails us. Or primary reason, but the majority reason is that the university took over control, and they said fantasy is all we need. Just lie, just steal, just cheat. Nobody will ever know. We'll die first. Let the world be dead. We won't do nothing. Which is what they have done for the last 50 years. So we look at where are we today with their lies and their fantasies and their delusions. And the answer is that it says, this is from the U.S. Treasury, it's usdebtclock.org, I believe. Anyway, it's that U.S. debt, all of it, totals $102,618 billion plus dollars. $102 trillion is $1,200,000 to you of debt per each and every one of 100 million people. So, that's you. That's what the numbers are. But an even more interesting, that's, what the debt that's created says, let the children pay. That's what the debt is that you are trying to leave them. And then we go out to here, which is the inflation rate. Inflation is not what you pay for goods and services at the grocery store, because that can be controlled and is controlled by those who are, manipulate agriculture and everything that you need. They create the lies that by funding, different things. But anyway, the inflation is at $635 trillion, which means that if we divided it equally, 100 million people would have $6.35 million in their bank account, or in some form or fashion, their property, whatever. 100 million people would have $6.35 million each in their bank account. So you can have as many numbers in your bank account as you want, so long as you don't spend them. That's where it hits the fan. So anyway, let's look at the current claim is $29 trillion of economic gross domestic product. But back in, I think it was 2007 or some such thing as that, when I was paying some attention, and the statistical abstract of the USA hadn't been corrupted and turned into a maze so that you couldn't understand it. The fact was that about $5 trillion came from U.S. Currency. That's about what U.S. makes, which is very equivalent with others. And all the rest came from banking. And it comes from banking because the U.S. government, there are people behind the walls that we don't see that shovel the currency inflation into Wall Street and other places, so that it appears to be that we have earned that. We did not earn that. $29 trillion means that every single one of 100 million people have to earn or produce $290,000 each as a economic benefit. It doesn't happen. It's a lie. They use it as a lie. Some people say that the world, or the global world report, is that there is $454 trillion of currency available in US dollars equivalent of. And then for that to be true, it's $56,800 per face on the planet. Think about that. Every single face on the planet has an equivalent of $56,800, supposedly. Supposedly. Or, if we just look at the derivative markets, which is different than that, there's a claim of over $2 quadrillion, which means that 8.2 billion people divided equally would share $125,000 per face on the planet. $125,000 for each and every face on the planet, babies and all, prisoners and all of it. How about your numbers? Are you got it all secured now? Well, over the last 50 years, there's 84 million people added to the world according to the population counts this year in 74 to 24, and that means that the population rise is in fact over 1%, and they claim it is not, of course. But anyway, our Fourth Amendment says we have the right to be protected in our possessions and things like that, which means that they cannot bankrupt us. They have no right to do that. We also have the transcript of the contract that is the United States Constitution, which unites us as one people. I'll read it again. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, which is your children, to ordain and establish this Constitution, which means that they can't do any of what they have been doing for the last 50 years. In other words, they cannot claim that let the children pay, and they cannot hide the tax that they're paying in inflation by inflating the currency, or lying about what we have for a gross domestic product, or any of the things that are going on. That is all communism, where the fantasy of a leader is all that matters. True fantasy. For the oath of office of the President of the United States, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. That is a direct demand of our government, not their government, our government, upon our executive leader. And of course, redress is to demand that you will do that, or we'll throw you out. You will do that, or we'll throw you out. Think about that. Or on this U.S. that clock here, bottom line says that unfunded liabilities per household is $927,000. And of course, then we go to all the things that are wrong with the planet itself, and all the crisis of everything, such as is our world uses or releases 568 million BTUs. And that equates to 5 billion gallons of gas being used, or the equivalent of what 150 billion people need for oxygen. We're going to run out of oxygen. And that's just the start. There's a lot more to it. So in other words, we have to declare our bankruptcy as a nation to get back our reality and to live by truth. That is not so bad as people think, because in the end it's all promises for its resources. And the promises are our own. And promises to those who have excess amounts of dollars should not be there in the first place. Nobody gets to be a billionaire, and we get to decide with limited capitalism what it is that you will stop at. This is as much as anybody gets to have. This is it. That's all you get. And income is for a year is the same. This is all you get, whether you earn it in a second or whether you earn it up for 5,000 hours in a year, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. This is all you get, so that somebody else can have some as well. We have to take control of our lives. We have to control our bankruptcy, or they will control it for us. And if you let the banks and the leaders and the people who want power control it, then you know what you get: nothing, because they take it all just as they always do. That's just how history proves is true. So do you think you can survive what's coming? You can't survive what's coming, because the numbers say you can't survive what's coming. That's the evidence. The evidence says you cannot survive what is coming, because the end result is that we are not paying an amount of money that is equivalent to the inflation they have submitted to us. In other words, we are being milked everything that we have. Everything. All they have to do is raise the price a little bit, and you have to pay. All they have to do is raise the price a bit more, and more people have to pay. And all they have to do is raise the price a little bit, and more people go bankrupt. And all they have to do is raise the price a little bit, and everybody goes bankrupt, because you can't compete with people who have counterfeited the money. You can't compete with them. They're going to take it, unless we take the counterfeit money back and throw them in jail. So we have to do what we have to do, whether we want to or not. It doesn't matter. You can't throw away the entire future for what you want, so that you can claim that you can, have whatever you want and no consequences to you until you die. Well, guess again. An eternity is waiting for you. And if you kill off an entire creation, guess what? Anyway, you have to understand that we can be, we can be completely destroyed by both Republicans and Democrats in charge. Doesn't matter. It's just a game. It's politics. It's a game. It's a game of war with money, but it's still a game. And of course, a game isn't what life is about. We don't play games in real life. It's either live or die. And so as far as that goes, it's the university behind it. It's the people who control the money. It's the people who decide that we're going to lie and steal and cheat and kill and terrorize and betray and everything else that makes the difference. So we have to weed them out. Literally, we have to weed them out. We have to take back control and let truth decide what we can and cannot do, what we will or will not have. We have to, freeze everything in place so that we can take a few moments, take a few days, or even years if we absolutely must. And then, of course, you have to provide for everybody to make that decision, and you have to support them as required.